So Clark's job here as a helper dog is a little different than the other helper dogs. Hey. He's used as a Malinois for a lot of tug demonstrations. He's used for a lot of tug practice. He does, nope, all done. Good boy. He does lots of work with our shadow students for tug. He's got a lot of stamina. He can do all that. He also has a lot of health problems that kind of intermittently cause issues. Nope, all done. And so he doesn't always get specific training time to work on individual concepts. So sometimes he'll come out, he'll blast the shadow students for, a half hour, 45 minutes in tug, kind of put them all in their place, and then he goes on back and rests or something like that. So we don't always have these individual training moments, but as the dogs start to filter out, I've been working on something that I haven't worked on enough with him, and I really want to start doing more of, and that's a true shut-off at the end of a game, which can be really challenging for those higher prey-driven dogs, which Clark definitely is. Prey drive is extremely high, much more so than any other drive. It's the most important thing to him, and he has a really hard time shutting off if there is a toy present, even if the toy is just hanging, right? Even if the toy is just present in some context. So if there's a ball sitting over here, or, it's tucked away somewhere, even if it's just present in the room, he has a really hard time shutting off. And he has an even harder time shutting off if the toy that we were actually playing with is still present. And what I'm working on now is giving a cue, teaching a cue that means that we are all done. And believe it or not, the cue is all done. And so we've been sitting here for probably 20 minutes since our game ended. We had a really nice quality, 25, 30-minute tug session. And I called for the game to be over now. So the toy is all done. We are all done. And now we're going to practice just being off in the presence of the toy, which is a really hard concept for him. He keeps circling, and he keeps, trying to walk past it and look at it, and, he keeps trying to look at the other toys and stuff like that. And it's easy for somebody with a dog like this to say, I'm just gonna put the toy away. But then we get a dog that's still neurotic over the toy. We didn't actually get the dog completely out of that prey drive and into a much better state. And sometimes what can happen is if we are dealing with a dog with a lot of prey drive, we rile them up, we get them really heavy into prey drive, and then we just stop. Well, then we didn't cycle all the way back down. We run the risk of dogs who struggle to get out of prey drive, and they are trying to chase the squirrels and the cats and the dogs, and everything in your hand, especially when you own a Malinois, everything in your hand looks like a ball, and everything that the children are playing with and everything that everybody's eating kind of becomes fair game, and they're almost unstoppable, uncontrollable, unless constantly given some type of command or something like that. And so what we want to practice is creating a mindset that when the game is done, the game is done. And we will definitely take care of your prey drive, but there's a time and place for it. So we're working on that cue all done, which is kind of sending a signal to the dog that the game's over. I'm not going to pick that toy up again. I've, called the end to that game. And so every time he circles back over there, and I think that he's tempted to go grab that toy or something again, I'll say my NOPE marker, which is conditioned already, and I'll remind him that the game is over. I'll say that all done cue again. And if he circles back around there, I will remind him again that the game is over, the game is over, the game is over. And every few minutes or so, we start getting this, well, maybe the game could start up again. And so with this exercise, you do want it to be on the longer side. Honestly, the higher prey drive the dog is, the longer we want this exercise to be, because the longer it might take for them to learn this concept and truly unwind. If you have a dog that's not super prey driven, that's only kind of half into this game, it's going to be a lot easier to shut them off. Nope. Good boy. And so just the fact that he's getting to the point where he's willing to just lay down and starting to rest in the presence of a toy is a really good sign that we're moving in the right direction. If you had a dog that was not verbally trained, nope, all done, good boy, was not verbally trained, didn't have any markers or anything like that under its belt, you might want to start by having a long line on the dog and, using the long line to pull him away from the toy to start showing him, and then letting the dog have freedom again and then pulling him away from the toy if that's what they're choosing. But starting to add a cue that tells the dog that the game is over and giving this decompression time to really teach that full shut off. This can be very, very valuable. And then when I bring Clark into the rest of his day, he's a lot more coachable. He's a lot more fulfilled. We can develop pack drive significantly better because we didn't carry over this craziness into the rest of our day. And it's helping the dog learn there's a time and place for craziness, and then there's a time and place where craziness has to go away, right? We have to shut that off. And he's thinking, he's working. I'm just watching kind of what he does. Nope, all done. Good boy. Just continually reminding him this is not a habit for him yet because he's so used to just coming out, doing a demo, and then, going back and doing his own thing. He's not used to this decompression time. So this is something that we're going to be working on quite a bit with him to help him learn this decompression portion, which is going to make his whole day easier, less anxious, less FOMO, less stress, more coachable, all of those things. And this is something that's valuable for every dog.